Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews, and today we are discussing Joker, Folie, Deux. Joker, Folie, Deux is the sequel to the smash hit sensation Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix and directed by Todd Phillips, giving a heavily inspired rendition of DC's most famous villain in the style of Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. But for this second outing, he's now joined by Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga, and this time it's a musical. I'm feeling particularly vindicated today, people, because yes, the second I saw the teaser trailer to this movie, I knew this thing was going to stink. I'm the guy who isn't even that deeply impressed by the first movie. That is a 6 out of 10 if ever there was one. I think a lot of people got wrapped up in the mind-blowing performance of Joaquin Phoenix and were willing to forgive the very shallow and frankly ripped off stories that they were taking from Martin Scorsese. But I for one never understood why on earth you'd give the guy who decapitated a giraffe in The Hangover 3 the opportunity to tell a story with DC's most iconic villain. So why on earth he felt he had the capabilities of directing a musical, God, I'll never know, but I can't help but salute the ego on you. And I just knew in my heart and soul that this was a car crash waiting to happen. And it was. Joker, Folie of Deux, more like a folly of poo. Let's get into it, shall we? I'll start with the positives, of which there are few. The set design is still very impressive here, and the surrounding scenes of Gotham that you get to explore, which is very limited, but for the bits that you do get, it's still very good, very impressive, and it does feel like Gotham. The cinematography continues to be very impressive. The aspect that caught my eye the most is the way they utilise the lighting. They're extremely considerate with it in every single scene, and it paints a beautiful picture at times. I also applaud the audacious attempt that the film offers, as much as I laugh at it and knew it wasn't going to work as a musical, because why on earth would it? I can appreciate the fact that it's audacious, it's different. I always want movies to be explorative and try different things, see what works, see what doesn't, and for that I do applaud it for being bold and having a bloody go. Joaquin Phoenix is also very good once again. I think he comes across a bit subdued in this one. It doesn't feel like he has anywhere near as much to do. There aren't that many scenes here where he really gets to sink his teeth into it. I actually kind of felt sorry for Joaquin Phoenix because you could see how hard he was trying, but the way he's being directed and the way the story is written and it's being cut and edited, it just doesn't really give him the opportunity to shine. But by God, is he trying? Lady Gaga was fine. She's given such a safe and bland and frankly empty, thankless role. It would have been impossible to mess it up. It does feel like she's just here because they needed someone who's capable of singing. And on that note, how is the musical aspect of this film? It's bad. It's really bad. The singing in and of itself is pretty decent, I will say that. I actually appreciated the fact that, especially with Arthur, his voice wasn't perfect when he sang. It was fitting of his character and it was exploring an interesting, potential happy side of the character, and it wouldn't have made sense if he suddenly had a voice like Enrique Iglesias. I think it offered a bizarrely raw emotion to these otherwise boring and forgettable songs, which probably does bring us on to the negatives, and boy, there are quite a few. Staying with the songs, there's far too many of them, and they feel so one note and similar at times. They all sort of mush into just the same bloody song. There also very rarely seems to be any reason at all for these characters to be bursting out into song. It's always abrupt. It just sort of puts down what it's doing and just bursts out into song and dance for 5 minutes, and then just goes back to what it was doing, sometimes, because that's another issue with the movie. The songs feel like placeholders in the script. It's so lazily and poorly written the whole way through. There's very little resolution or even that much conflict, to be honest with you, because every single time that it's presented in the script, it's always met with breaks out into song. Rather than give a question or actually just play out a scene and let these actors do their thing and give the audience something to take away with them, no, it was just thrown out for a very shoddily written song. And it's done so many times. I lost count of how many songs are in this movie. I would take a wild stab at 12. It's also extremely detrimental to the first movie. Now, I don't love that first movie, but there's one aspect about it that I always appreciated, and that's the fact that the whole thing might just be in his head. Now they've made a sequel, they've even taken that away from me, because no, it just absolutely confirms what happened in that first one is legit. And they even go one step beyond that, because this film just seems hell-bent on taking away any mystery and allure to the character, because they don't actually have anything else to say. Because they never did have anything else to say. Everything they had to say, they said in the first movie, leaving us with a 2-hour-long unnecessary musical sequel that serves as an empty epilogue to an already finished story. By the end of this movie, you very quickly realise that we have gone absolutely nowhere. And in 2 hours, we have achieved and said absolutely nothing. The whole movie seems hell-bent on destroying itself. It seems to suddenly hate the character of Arthur Fleck. But the way this movie ends, it just feels like the whole experience has been one big giant shitpost from Todd Phillips from start to finish. It's a real fuck you to the audience. It's unbelievably unsatisfying. It's a real shit show and it's so damn thankless. You will walk out of the cinema thinking, well, that's 2 hours of my life I'm not getting back. The biggest praise I can give this movie is that it makes me think I was maybe too harsh on that first movie. The first movie is a lot better than this, that's for sure. Maybe that 6 out of 10 can be bumped up to a 7. Perhaps I was too harsh on it. Now I've seen how bad it could have been. I wasn't that excited about it in the first place, and yet somehow I'm still disappointed. Joker, Folie, Deux gets a 3 out of 10. Hopefully that means no more Todd Phillips movies for a while. We can pray. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Joker, Folie, Deux? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, you can always click on these 2 suggested videos right here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole. But if not, take care. I look forward to seeing you on the next review.